What's up, friends? I'm Josh, and welcome back. We've got more Scream 5 news, a fun little tidbit, and this is kind of like a mashup montage episode because I'm going to branch off into a few other horror movies that I'm looking forward to. Now, I'm not a fan of every franchise. I don't get excited about every single horror movie that comes out, so I'm just going to focus on the ones that are maybe a little more obscure, the ones that get me excited, the ones that we get big news about, and then everything else will be Scream 5. So, before we get into it, make sure that you guys subscribe, you like, you tick that bell button so you know when I post something new. Today, I want to start off by talking about the new movie, Wrong Turn. I remember this franchise coming out, I think it was like early 2000s, maybe late 90s, and the first one was good. Corny, but good. It was enjoyable, it was just something fresh, kind of like The Hills Have Eyes sort of vibes, in the forest with some weird, deformed, inbred humans, I believe. It's been a long time since I've watched any of those films. As that series progressed, it got more and more low budget, super corny. I stopped watching and I just wasn't the biggest fan of it anymore. So when I found out that they were rebooting the franchise, I was like, oh great, this is going to be Wrong Turn 7 and it's going to be absolute crap. It's going to be low budget. It's going to be the worst of the worst. Usually when we get to a whatever movie, number 6, 7, 8, the films just kind of lose their pizzazz. But my mind was absolutely changed when I saw this trailer. I've been looking forward to seeing any sort of footage, any photos, and when I saw this trailer, I was like, okay, they're gonna do this right. It seems legit to me. The quality looks great, the acting looks good, the kills look like they're going to be very inventive with these kind of booby traps throughout the forest, and it just seems very grounded, I want to say. Is as grounded as an inbred family in the Appalachian Mountains, Appalachian, however you say it, mountains, killing any people that come in from out of town sort of situation. But if you guys have not checked out the trailer yet, I highly suggest that you go and watch it now and let me know what you think about it, because I didn't watch all of the Wrong Turn movies. Was there some in there that were good? I just know by I think 3 or 4 I was like, I'm so over this. But let me know if you guys think that this Wrong Turn is going to turn the franchise around. It's a great joke, wasn't it? Turn it around. Moving on, we have the Orphan prequel, which is called Orphan First Kill or Esther. I don't believe we have any confirmation, but the original returning actress who played Esther in the first film is back to play herself. Although this is a prequel and it's been a gazillion years, so she is a grown-ass woman now. They're going to use body doubles and a filming technique that is going to make her appear smaller, shorter, and more like a child. Kind of like how they did with Hagrid in the Harry Potter franchise. They used a bunch of different techniques to make him seem larger than life. I would assume they're going to do the opposite of that and make Esther seem really small. And again, at first I was like, nobody's begging for this movie. I haven't heard anybody be like, let's get some more Orphan movies. But the concept of going back to how it all started, where she came from, learning about her, I believe it's like a dwarfism, some sort of disease. If it's not a dwarfism, sorry, I'm mistaken. And seeing where she came from, her origins. And then I found out Julia Stiles was starring in this film, which I was super excited about because I have always really enjoyed her as an actress, and I think it's gonna turn out pretty well. We haven't got very many pictures. We have a few behind the scenes photos here of Esther covered in blood. Here of Julia Stiles, also covered in blood with a creepy little girl behind her. Is that Esther? Is that her body double? We don't know. So I'm looking forward to this movie now. Again, just like Wrong Turn, I wasn't too excited about it until I started to hear more, started to see a few images, even though there's just a little bit of images out there. But now I'm pretty excited. And let me know if you're excited for this Orphan prequel just as much as I am. Okay, now the reason we're all here. Scream 5. I have a few little tidbits to touch base on, nothing major, but I'm that kind of person that anytime we're going to get a picture on the Instagram, some sort of video, some sort of poster, some sort of leak or information, not leak, no leaks, I'm not going to release any leaks, but I might end up seeing them. I will not share them here, but maybe just no leaks. Never mind, I'm not even going to fuck with the leaks. No. Pretty much anytime we get anything Scream 5, I'm making a video because I'm stoked. Now hear me out. The Scream 5 tagline, Scream, the past will haunt you. I mean, I like it. I'm kind of into it. We need some sort of tagline, right? I mean, every movie has a tagline. Someone's taking their love of horror movies one step too far, etc., etc., etc. So I'm curious to see what they're going to do with this tagline. That's my own little theory or expectation. Back to the Scream 5 news. This week I got really excited and I filmed a complete separate video because it was revealed that Kyle Gallner's character's name was Vince Loomis. And we've all been waiting to see what his last name is because all of the other characters, majority of them, have a last name that relates to somebody in the franchise or alludes to a famous horror icon in our world. We've got the Carpenter sisters, we've got a Mackenzie who was the neighbor to Casey Becker in the first film. We've got Deputy Judy Hicks and her son Wes Hicks. We've got the Meeks twins, who are Randy's niece and nephew. And then we're like, okay, well, who's this Vince character? What is his last name? How does he tie in? And he looks very similar to Billy. He's got even like the little goatee that Skeet Ulrich had on the cover of the first Scream poster VHS. So I'm like, are they gonna use him as the Billy character in flashback sequences instead of doing like that de-aging? Are they just gonna recast? And maybe he's just playing Billy in flashbacks. I mean, I don't know how I would feel about that. Because I wouldn't want them to do the de-aging thing, because that's all we're going to focus on. So I'm like, are they going to have him be Billy in the past? Because they couldn't come out and just say, his name is Billy, because then we'll just know. Anyway, getting off track here. So it was released on the IMDb page for Scream 2022 that he would in fact be a Vince Loomis. Super stoked, made a video in my car after grocery shopping because I was like, I need to share this, and then the next day I found out that it is not the case. Anyone can go on IMDb and write whatever they want, similar to how Wikipedia works. So that was removed now. He's back to just Vince. We don't know his last name. Apparently he's not a Loomis. I've talked to a few people that are, I guess, on the inside, that have a scoop, that have read scripts, that know maybe what the ending is going to be. I don't know this information. I just know that these people do, and I've been informed that he is not a Loomis. However, I'm hoping he's still a Loomis. I'm thinking that maybe somebody put that last name on IMDb maybe too early, or it was just somebody like you or me going on trying to play a trick on everybody, but it is the truth, and it is the case. So then the studio just had it removed ASAP, and now he's just back to Vince. And I could be wrong. I just really want a character to be related to the Loomises. I want all of these characters to tie into the legacy, the families. I think that would take a really interesting route. A really interesting story could be woven throughout the town of Woodsboro. That's just my thoughts. Moving on, we found out that the Stab franchise is in fact going to be back in Scream 5. We don't know if it is a new Stab film or not, because remember in the beginning of Scream 4, the girls that were watching the Stab films were talking about how Stab 5 had time travel. That is just hilarious to me. But Heather Graham recently in an interview, she played Casey Becker in the Stab films. She revealed that the studio actually sent her the footage from Stab that she had recorded and needed her permission to use it in this new Scream film. So I think it would be hilarious if they were using footage from Stab 5 in which time travel takes place. The characters discuss that at the beginning of Scream 4, that Stab 5 was the worst and there was time travel. So wouldn't that be funny if they were traveling back in time to save the Casey Becker of the Stab franchise played by Heather Graham? I think that would be really funny. They could make a lot of jokes about that, and it would be just a fun, fresh take on the whole Stab franchise within the Scream universe. Moving on to my final little tidbit, I got a comment from, I believe his name is The Real Tom 3PO. I just looked, I don't know why, I can't remember. But he let me know about his theory that I think is really cool. As I've said before, I think maybe Stu could have survived. People come into the ER with giant knives in their head and poles in their eyes and been shot or whatever, and they survive. People get struck by lightning and survive, okay? So like, when everyone's saying he couldn't have survived, he was stabbed this many times, had a TV dropped on his head, he could have. It's not out of the realm of possibility that Stu is still alive. What if he was taken away, his files were sealed, he was put in either an insane asylum, had a plea deal so he would only have to serve 25 years, and he is back in Woodsboro. Just maybe his house was abandoned, that's why it looks the same in Scream 5, and now he's just moved back home. Perhaps he again is a Ghostface killer, and there's a separate group of Ghostface killers that are maybe stalking him, or vice versa. Maybe there's like two clans, it's the West Side Story of Ghostfaces, and they're going at each other. Maybe Stu is actually, in fact, rehabilitated and trying to help yet he is then being stalked by the new group of ghost faces. That would be really dope. As I mentioned before, at the CCXP event, Nev Campbell said the roles are going to be changed. Things are about to be switched up. That would mean the hunter is now the hunted or vice versa. So things are changing. So it wouldn't be completely crazy to say that Stu was put away, his files were sealed, he has been released, he is now being stalked. However, he's probably still a freaking lunatic. But remember, we've been talking about how Judy Hicks could have been his secret girlfriend in high school because we know that Stu got around. She's now a police officer and would have access to the original Ghostface mask if it was in fact in hiding, in lockdown, in evidence. And perhaps she's in on it. Maybe she was waiting this whole time for Stu to get out of prison and to get revenge. I think I'm really onto something here, so before I go too far, let me know your thoughts on the new Wrong Turn movie. Let me know your thoughts on the new Orphan movie. Let me know if you think Kyle Gallner is in fact a Loomis. How would you like to see them use the stab films in this new Scream movie? And if you've got any other theories, by all means, leave them down below. Like, subscribe, comment, follow me on Instagram at True Crime Nursery Rhymes. And if you haven't checked out my website yet, I have a lot of fun Scream-inspired products. I just released a whole series, a whole collection of Scream-inspired keychains that are super cute, and people have been getting them. They're going like hotcakes. I think that's the saying. www.truecrimenurseryrhymes.com. And until we get more Scream and horror news, I'll see you next time, and I'll be right back.